Okay, this is number 31 on page 367. Here's the original problem. Now it looks like this side is messier, and in the solutions they started with this side, but I'm going to start with this side because at least I have something I know I can do here. I'm going to start with these tangents. I'm going to change everything to sine and cosine and see what that does for me. So I'm going to write, this is going to be the sine of x over the cosine of x plus the sine of y over the cosine of y, and then in the bottom I've got 1 minus the sine of x over the cosine of x times the sine of y over the cosine of y. Alright, so now I think what I'm going to do, and I can do it in one step, I'm going to take the numerator and I'm going to get a common denominator. So this is going to have to be the cosine of x over the cosine of x. And then for this one I need the cosine of y over the cosine of y. In the denominator, notice I've got a product here. So I'm going to do the same thing, but with the 1 I'm going to multiply this by the cosine of x cosine of y over cosine of x cosine of y. So I'm treating the numerator and the denominator of this complex fraction separately. So on the top I'm going to end up with the sine of x cosine of y over the cosine of x cosine of y. And then I can go ahead, since that is my common denominator, I'm just going to go ahead and write the other numerator, the sine of y times the cosine of x. And then here's my big division bar, and in the denominator I'm going to have the cosine of x cosine of y minus the sine of x sine of y, and then my common denominator in this part of the fraction is cosine x cosine y. Okay, now you might see this. I have an identical denominator for both of those, so they actually do cancel out. I can do it a couple of ways. I could take this entire fraction and multiply by its reciprocal up here, or another way that we can clear complex fractions is to multiply by 1 in the form of something over itself, and that something is your common denominator. So it's going to be cosine x cosine y over 1, and then cosine x cosine y over 1. So I haven't changed any values because this is technically a big fat 1. But look what happens when I multiply. This is going to cancel that, and this is going to cancel that, and what's left is my final answer, which is the sine of x cosine of y plus the sine of y cosine of x all over the cosine of x cosine of y minus the sine of x sine of y. So it all came down to figuring out what to do with this. And what I did was I multiplied the denominators. What you could have done is you could have taken this fraction and multiplied it by this reciprocal, and you'd get the same thing.